Give you.
Oi, gente. Obrigada por terem vindo. Queria apresentar vocês para o professor Arun Pratihast. Ele é de origem nepalesa, mas ele trabalha na Universidade de Wageningen, na Holanda. E I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, because you're going to correct me, okay? Yeah. Porque o holandês é muito difícil de pronunciar. Passei lá 10 dias e consegui falar o nome da cidade, da universidade, mas, assim, o professor Arun queria contar só uma história antes, para vocês entenderem. Quando, ano passado, a gente teve a ideia de fazer o aplicativo do Cacau, não tinha muita gente trabalhando com inteligência artificial nessa área no Brasil. E aí eu fui na internet buscar quem trabalhava, e o nome dele apareceu várias vezes. E aí eu escrevi para ele, e ele não me respondeu. I was telling them that I wrote to you first, and then you just forgot the email. You know, you didn't answer me. But because I'm very insistent, you know, I wrote you back twice, you know, I don't recall.
Yeah, true.
And then he said, oh, yes, thank you for writing me. And he, desculpa. Então, eu escrevi para ele de volta, ele escreveu de volta para mim, e foi super legal, porque ele é uma pessoa, assim, apesar de estar morando na Holanda, que é o pessoal mais formal tudo, ele é que nem a gente, super informal. E aí a gente fez a parceria, a gente convidou mais gente aqui da UESC, escrevemos uma proposta, conseguimos dinheiro com a Arapiaú, e no dia 25 a gente lançou o aplicativo do Cacau, que está sendo muito bem aceito, e tem a participação do Arun em muitos pontos, né? Então, a ideia agora é a gente começar muitas parcerias com a Universidade de Wageningen, né? Então, eu queria que ele apresentasse, porque ele trabalha com inteligência artificial, tecnologia, mas muitas áreas ele trabalha. Tanto que ele falou para mim que ele teve dificuldade de fazer a apresentação aqui, porque ele tem mais de 20 projetos e ele não sabia qual projeto mostrar, que não ia ter tempo. E, então, assim, eu acho super legal essa parceria. Ele vai falar inglês, obviamente, e como os nossos alunos aqui estão acostumados a escutar inglês, não tem problema, né? Então, thank you very much, Arun, for this partnership. I hope it's very fruitful, because you just received a grant, and ele prometeu para a gente que ele vem uma vez por ano no Brasil, tá? Ele recebeu um financiamento agora, então fiquem à vontade depois da palestra de conversar com ele, de pensar no que fazer junto, tá? Pode encher ele, pergunta que depois eu aguento aqui, tá bom? Thank you, Arun. Please make yourself comfortable, and thank you very much for having this time with us here, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for a nice introduction. I didn't manage to pick off, but at least I picked some good words. So you are a great human being and great host. I'm really having great time. And it's true, yeah, in the beginning you used the Gmail, and then my Wageningen system, they didn't recognize. So I thought maybe it's just a normal email coming from. So that's why, sorry for that. But yeah, so, and I was fighting a lot with myself that what should I present to you today? Because of course I work in many fields, and each project is, if I go to the detail, then it can be like, it can go very detailed. So I decided to give you a bit of flavor what we do there in Netherlands. And then if you have any question, then we can go to the detail of the particular project, and then I can explain you more. But before going to who I am, Deborah mentioned, I'm from Wageningen University and Research. So how it works in Wageningen, we have two organizations. It is very different than Brazil maybe and other parts of the world. You have Wageningen, we have Wageningen University and Wageningen Research. Wageningen Research mainly focus on the research. University mainly focus on education. And these two have been blended within the 5 research group basically. And then it has same advisory board. So we have same rector, same dean, but we have 2 labor law. So our working condition, because ideally we have 2 different organizations. So I represent here, that is called Wageningen Environmental Research. We have like around 25 teams. Each team represent basically around 30 to 40 people. And I represent Earth Informatics team. So we really play with the satellite data and try to make the. This is a bit old picture, but this is basically the team which I belong, yeah? Team Earth Informatics. It has been grown a bit now, but you can see in the past we had very male dominated, but now we have some good gender balance. Okay. So what we really focus, so we focus basically nature and biodiversity monitoring. We have a lot of projects that look different part of nature and how to monitor biodiversity. We have climate and environment team where we are really looking on different climate scenario, how we can predict and interact with the climate environment. We have water management and governance. Netherlands is one of the best water of the Delta, so we have quite a big team focusing on that. We have sustainable use of soils. We have regional planning and land use. These are the broader theme, research theme where we work. Especially I and my team, where I focus basically, we focus on remote sensing, that is satellite data, and their applications in land monitoring, crop yield forecasting. We are like last 30 years, we are providing services for whole European Commission called MARSUP about crop yield and what will be the yield in the coming season. So we give the real-time information. It's called MARSUP system. We have our environmental stratification and escape classification, especially it is very important in Netherlands and European landscape. Where are the nature? If you want to build the new buildings, what are the regulations? This we do a lot. Of course, monitoring vegetation for agriculture and nature, how the nature is growing or agriculture is growing with the drought, with the different, now nitrogen is a big issue in Netherlands, so how it impacts the nature. So that kind of monitoring we do. We have lots of methods and application for satellites, but also, you know, now drone is a new phenomenon to get a more detailed observation. So we have very dedicated drone teams. We have all kind of drone sensor. I'll show you a bit later. And then we have now, because the last 4 or 5 years, big data, artificial intelligence, taking the pace, you know. So we have also a big team, and I supervise a lot in this team, basically really thinking how first how to gather the data, how to organize the data, and then how we can use the meaningful information for different AI and machine learning training. And last part, that is where I do a lot of work also, that anything if you want to do meaningful, you need to have data. We had lots of conversation, Deborah, over the beer or in the evening, and we always talk about the problem. And I really like, because you need to understand the situation. There is tools, but if you don't, like, you have a very nice car, but if you don't know the road, then you can't drive well. So similarly, any of this model, if you want to really apply, you need to have a good amount of reference, like ground truth data. So we focus a lot on that part. And as I mentioned, these are the images. So in terms of sensing or monitoring, we go basically from very high sky satellites, because satellites give you like broader pictures, yeah, like we have European satellite Sentinel, American satellite Landsat. Of course, I think Brazilian is also going to launch some satellites now, yeah. So they are also regional satellites. So, and then you have, in the past, now we don't have because of cost issues, but in the past we used to have our own plane where you used to acquire the aerial pictures and try to understand that. Of course, we have lots of UAVs, drone, but we also have lots of close sensing, really understanding the ground about if you want to understand plant growth, phenotyping. Then we have lots of ground sensor and robots. They acquire the data. So as you say, you understand these days the problems are multifaceted. If you look at it, the Kabruka system where we went, if you want to only use satellite data, because the canopy are so dense you can't see under the canopy. But if you are only looking from the under the ground, then you are limited in the space because you cannot cover like I was field, it was 1,000 hectares, yeah, this Dango field. Then you need a huge manpower to really collect all the ground data. Whereas from satellite, you can get it free every month. But depends on the application. You really need to make this multi-sensor, multi-platform approach. So we try to really make the method that can really interact and that can work with different data sets, and that can be used for upscaling and downscaling applications. So if we develop something for the whole Brazil, then how we can downscale only for the smallholder farmers and vice versa. So this is very nice but very challenging work. One of the things is getting data. You know, data is still, it is asset. So it is very hard to get the good data, and that's why this is one of the papers we published in the +1. So this is like called data value chain. So what we are trying to do basically, we try to discover the data. So if there is already collected data, somebody has published either in a data paper or there is a website. So we try to get the data, harmonize it. So often what happens, the data, each person, each institute collect the data for their own purpose. So try to get it in one single format that can be used for your application. That is called data harmonization. And then third is like fitness for use, because data need to be which data is appropriate for which kind of applications. So I developed all kind of this data quality procedure. For example, if you want to map something, but if you have a data, they don't have geolocation, then you cannot use the data for the mapping, you know. So these kind of, and then once it is all there, then how you can give back to the community so that community can use it. So there basically, so this value chain which I mentioned, I co-chair one of the group called GeoGlam. It is like a advisory body for Europe, G8 member state, and there we made different methods and try to make it publicly available for communities, standards about the data collection. This is one example we use. I don't know if I can do like this, how it works. Yeah. So one of the very famous framework I use for the data collection is called ODK, Open Data Toolkit. And it is an open framework. You can implement it in your system. And so this is the example where I run the system in cocoa soil, and this is in Africa, where I have tagged each and individual tree. We have geolocation of trees, but sometimes if you have expensive phone or cheap phone, then the location varies because GPS is expensive device in phone, and based on the quality of GPS, the phone price vary. So to address that, we have this barcode system in each tree. So if we scan this barcode, then we know exactly we locate the geolocation. So what we have done now, so this is one of this one, global level, we have harmonized almost like 180 billion data points for the crop mapping. And this, so it is, we have activated the community, we have harvested the data, we have like checked each data in terms of data quality, we have the quality metrics, the data is good for the mapping with the confidence interval like 80%, 90%. Because I don't know how many of you are using AI and machine learning. So basically, There people are training my model is 90% accurate, my model is 80% accurate. But if your training data have uncertainties, training data set is error, then your model will also be error. So that need to be accurate. The calculator like considered. So we help them to that. And this data set is open, World Serial Reference Data Model. You can download and you can use it. So one of the big effort we are doing really to get the data. Secondly, same here, cocoa swirl, it is experimental data. For the cocoa tree, it's a perennial. So you need to understand long term about the growth of the trees or about the fertilizer application. If you are applying some fertilizer, even for pruning, you can, it is not like the annual crop that you can get the effect for 1 year. For cocoa, you need to understand minimum 5 or 6 years. So this part of world, we have set up the experiment. Each tree has been tracked, and we have collected all kind of data that has been used for growth, fertilizer application, pruning, harmonize all the data, check the quality, and make it publicly available also. So we release it for the general public so that they can use it in their own way. This is another data that is called agrostack in English, agrostack in Dutch. So this is the data from crop modeling. So we monitor the crop phenological stages when basically elongation of the branches or different things. So we also monitor that, and then we host this data set, and this all data are freely available for the scientists and of course for us also to develop different models and further enhance the results. So one of
This region, just to highlight,
yeah,
this region is 70% of cocoa production in the world.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's why so meaningful
Yeah, it is quite meaningful. So these are really the cocoa growing region, and it's really a smallholder farmers that depend. And we have made a partnership with the companies. So all companies are part of this program. They are funding their data collector to collect the data. Yeah, yeah. And then what we have done, we have a cost model. So companies got the access their harmonized data easily, like real time. But for the public which are not paid, we wait for 1 year and we release the data. Yeah, so we have some delay, and it is subscription model. It is very well a working model. We have finished 5 years, now we are running for the 6th year. And it was a really big project funded by Norwegians. We have almost like 6-7 PhDs has been written in this project, and still a couple of them are working on different aspects. I'll show a couple of examples from that also later. So this is one of the key aspects, and my research basically I really coordinate this one of this research. And then, as I mentioned, for this is one of the European Space Agency project where we are trying to map global crop maps. There was no global good amount of good crop maps. There were no crop calendars that show like which crop will grow which calendar. So we developed the crop calendar basically, and then we produce different kind of global crop maps. And this was kind of the project is now running for second phase. This year we are ending. So this was the project where the whole AI model start developing. So we started first with the Presto, now with using all kind of foundation models. So this is the first time the project have experiment from time series to all this AI development. And we are really trying to build the community. So all these methods, also if you want to try, you can try freely. There is methods, codes, everything is available. I coordinate the MOOC module, massive online course. So I developed the online course how to collect the data from the field, get the map. So that is also online. So if you want, you can apply. And how we have done it basically, so there is different agroecological zone. You have to understand when you start to making any global product, like which crop is growing in which agroecological zone and how to apply it. And then, but this is important, but sometimes when you develop global models, it might not work in a local context, So that's why it's also sometimes it is, of course, Brazilian system is also still quite big. I think the farming system is quite big, and the landscape is more or less harmonized, I'll say. But when we try to apply this in Nepal, basically, that we have very short, like kind of landscape where you have lots of mountain, and the vegetations are different. So one of my PhD there, we try to see how we can take the global model and how we can really retrain which are the indices is more appropriate for the local context. So this has been the project, this PhD really explore that, and we try to find different indices, band combination, which one is good for recognizing paddy, for example, sugarcane, and all kind of things. So just want to show you that can be applied also here. But only thing is caution is that when you are trying to use global model, don't expect that it will work 100% perfect in the local context. Yeah? Another very important part which my group basically is working is called LGM, land cover map for the whole Netherlands. So since 1990, we are producing basically detailed land cover map for Netherlands. And then another services which we provide is called like green monitoring. And this is very interesting. We map all the grasslands, and we have a cost model here. Like for example, we have a very big milk company called Friesland Campina. So they use our product to calibrate the milk production. So this is how the services can link, like map can link to the services. So we do these services also in our in-house. It is satellite-based data. We acquire the data. We detect where are the greenness, especially grasslands, and we monitor. Yeah.
When you were talking about this,
Yeah.
you say you mapping grasses. So
Yeah.
the landowners can use, for instance, the stage of the growth of each pastures in order to plan the rotation.
Exactly, mowing and other event. Yeah, and then you can also feed that to the milk company, so they know like where are the mowing, how, because if so this another day's information which we host is called Agro Data Cube. So last I think 15 years, 16 years, we monitor each parcel, and we know each parcel, for example, like how the parcel has the crop, which crop, how the crop has grown, basically what is the yield in that crop. So we host this information, and then it's also available. Basically it helps many researchers and also service providers to develop their applications. Yeah.
Because we are from this area,
Yeah.
but in data cube means that you have a package of information, different layers of information for specially split.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in each pixel, for instance, you have layers of production, the terrain roughness, and whatever.
Yeah. Each parcel, yeah, each parcel. So each parcel, of course, the location, each parcel, we have all the informations, and that helps policymaker. For example, if you want to implement crop rotation, if the farmer suggests only planting potato every, because ideally if you need to rotate potato every 4 years, so there is a standard rotation for the crops. So then you advise the farmers, or like but also these all are used also for the mapping, and then model calibration. If you have the crop yield forecasting model, then you can use this to see how the data is. I go on and on. There is similar service we provide for the drought monitoring. This is for the land bow, that it means like where the company should build the land building, where which land are suitable for building, like build the new houses. Yeah, and this is, I think I mentioned this in the grassland monitoring services. So there are multiple services we run via our team, and that services has blend to the companies and then the production system. And this is another like grass damage. So because grassland is becoming more and more important now, and also because of different biodiversity initiatives, we have like kind of 4 or 5 type of grassland where you have like mixed with the flower margin and different things. So it is getting very important in Netherlands to monitor and see if there is damage, because if there is more damage in the grassland, means it is more damage to the pollinators and the biodiversity and so on. Now comes to biodiversity. So I give a bit of bigger picture here. I have lots of local example, but I want to one of the bigger picture in our group. Basically, we support GeoBond and we try uh, to monitor different essential biodiversity variables via they called EBVs, essential biodiversity variables from satellite data, basically. So in our team, we have always, let's say, we have a dedicated team, like almost like Mukher, one of the guy, he's one of the nature paper author. And so we have always 2 or 3 horizon projects where we look different aspect of biodiversity there. Still, I have now one project where I'm involved. It's called Obsession. There we are trying to understand how this uh, uh, you have how Hillland. There is a grass, but it is not real grass. I don't know if you are in Velu National Park. You were there? No, no. There is one kind of grass, and this is very important for the ecosystem and for the sheep. So we're trying to monitor that. So this we are trying to develop here different indicators from satellite perspective that can be used to monitor different essential biodiversity variables. Yeah, we have different maps we have produced. There is a project NextGeos basically where we try to uh, produce European level habitat suitability map for different species. And yeah, I didn't mention here, but I can go on now if you like. And we have lots of local examples. So for example, in Ethiopia, I had developed different apps for the local citizens how to monitor biodiversities and for example, flower species or like honeybees or bat or like so one is the direct observation, but also indirect observation that can be linked to the biodiversity. So that I have quite a lot of examples. And then sensors, as I mentioned, so we have quite a bit of drone and lots of sensors and camera type, for example, RGB, multispectral, hyperspectral, thermal, LiDAR. So these all are really combined with different platforms, that is different UAVs. Basically, we have certified 4 or 5 drone pilots. Welcome. Sorry, we had to start a bit early. So, and then there also, if you have the image from this drone platform, you need to work on different stages. That is, first you need to acquire the image. You need to know good flight planning, all this, which height you want to, which season. And then once you acquire the data, then you have to understand how to process it. So we have actually we have like agreement with Vito, Belgium. We have like really good UAV data processing ecosystem that most of the yeah. So then we share that one, and then we have different softwares where we do the image analysis, and there are different products basically, and then that goes to the application cycles. Yeah? So this is like really a stage, and now of course because of the push to defense and other purpose. So this lab will be more and more valuable in the coming years. Yeah? So there are many innovations will come from this lab. I want to show this because this is one of my projects. This is one of the food forests. So think about one of the Kabruka system here. But this is different there. So this is very famous food forest concept in Netherlands now. So idea is that when you have a forest, the forest should work themselves. You don't need to do any management, nothing, but you get a profit. So the setup is basically the setup in such a way that you have all the big trees this side, all the fruit trees and everything. So this is called Futsel Bos. This is one of the first agro food forest in Netherlands. This is around 2.5 hectare, but it generates revenue more than 1 million euro per year. So it is very interesting business model they have if we go to study. So we had chance to understand like how the food system, because there is also related to nature, how this food forest hosting biodiversity. So we had kind of like opportunity to do all the experiments. So we have the drone image, we put the camera trap, we put the acoustic, we did like all the plant survey, and we tried to develop some method here. So giving some examples, so this is like drone image and 3D LiDAR images where we classify, basically you see the height of the trees, but we also can classify different segmentation and try to understand like which species and so on. And then of course, with the thermal, you can also get basically, or hyperspectral, you get different signature with different trees, so you can understand like which trees we have in which way. Yeah, if you want to have a detail, this is called IBM, ibm.wr.nl. There I have all the data, all the experiment is there. It's hyperspectral. Yeah, hyperspectral means you have like, yeah, so for example you have RGB. So when you take the picture, the three, so the camera is taking the three picture as one go, red, green and blue channel, and then the hyperspectral you have 200 channels, and then you get 200 spot in one go, and then you can do lots of detail analysis. Exactly, phenotype or like really detailed understanding about the behavior of plant. Are you still following or you're tired? Yeah, Christian? Okay. Okay, now this is one of the, I think you are from Cocoa guys, Cocoa world. So I thought, why not I'll give a bit more 4 or 5 slide about the cocoa, because cocoa is important here. So I give you one database, but in the first slide how we set up the data, but I like to explain about how the project has been set up basically. So the project have, we call core trials and satellite trials. Core trials are the trials where we acquire the land. We did all our best at that time to plant the trees. So we check the soil quality. We try to put the manure fertilizer to make sure the soil is optimal. We use the best variety. We use the best protocol to do the spacing, how to plant. So everything at that time, what we can say the best, and we have this as a kind of plot design. We design the plot 15 by 15 meter one, and then we have tracked each and individual trees which has been planted, and then we are monitoring that. And the whole goal and ambition is that these core trials will get the data for 15 years. And we have commitment from Norwegians, from the company, that these trials will run for the 15 years. We finished 5 years, now we are running 6-7 years. So we have all kind of data. But over the time, we recognize that the science, especially cocoa science, it takes time to get the results. So, and then farmers really need the device right away. So then we found around 393 farmers plot, which is existing farm, and then we established the trials. But there the trials was not as complicated as our core trials. So we have basically four types. So we have four types of trials there, where we have like T1, T2, T3, T4 we call, 21 by 21 meter. We tag each entry and then we apply different fertilizer combination in this trial. Because the idea, one of the big thing was that how the fertilizer will work, especially NPK combination, that can increase the soil fertility management, that is still unknown. So we wanted to understand that one. That was the main goal of the cocoa soil. But of course, the side goal was like shading, pruning, pest and biodiversity. These are like how it can impact basically the overall cocoa production. So keeping that in mind, basically, we have set up this trust, and you can see each company who is hosting. So in Ecuador, we have Mars is hosting the trust there. So hosting means they provide their, so we provide the data collection protocols, we provide the infrastructure, but the Mars provide the technician, they go to the field and they do exact what has been written in protocols, and they deliver the data back to us.
The same for each
one? Yeah, so it is same.
So the other companies like
same.
They sign with.
Yes, so it's the same protocols. We have developed the same, the one common protocols for the core trials and satellite trials, and these protocols is accepted by the whole company, and that's why you can intercompare the data. A bit more detail. So what we try to do here, for example, these are the fertilizer applications. So we try to repeat the fertilizer application in the trials 2 times. So if you see here, different colors shows you different amount of different combination of fertilizers. So this strip and this strip has applied basically same fertilizer, and then we try to understand that what is the production. Yeah. So in terms of data collection, we have like very detailed plot coordinates, field samples, tree locations, all this trial establishment. Then when we start the cocoa, so first we use the maize. We have all the maize production data, nursery, which seed has been planted, then field preparation, cocoa, and then we have all kind of management, measurement and management, like tree height from, you can name it, so it's everything. And we have a very detailed ODK form, and it has been like collected, and we check the quality of all the data. And then once it is ready, embargo is free, then it goes back to our sênior. So we have a cocoa soil community page where user can also download. This data is collected by the technicians from these guys. So as I mentioned, this Indonesia, for example, Mondelez is hosting these trials. So Mondelez has signed the agreement. So they have a dedicated technician for us, and then they collect the data for us. We give the training. And so this is how it is really public-private partnership project. And all the and all the cocoa research and how it has been made. So for example, if you look at it, Ghana or Ivory Coast. So there is Cocoa Research Board in Ghana. They are also part of this project. And Cocoa Research Board has access to all the research which is happening in Ghana. Whereas Mondelez, Cargill, or Olam, basically, they are hosting this one. So they have access to this data. They have access to this data only. They have access. Yeah. So we publish the data. Last 3-year data has been published. Now 4th phase ongoing, but we harmonize all the data and make it publicly available. But 1 year timeline. Yeah, 1-year timeline. This is the agreement with the partners. So this is, for example of the trials. How is it set? You can see like different tree height. So different 15 by 15 meter plot. Basically, you have 25 trees in each of this block, and then how the tree height has been grown, how the digital terrain model, so how the elevation is in the trial. So we have all information there. This is slope map, so you can see that if you want to apply the fertilizer, then how the runoff will be there. You can understand that. And then, of course, these are some analysis, preliminary analysis. One of postdoc actually is almost ready to submit this paper, especially for the core trial. Then we are understanding now that, because this is still early, like 5-6 year plantation, but we are looking like how the cocoa pod is increasing or decreasing. So this is like summary of different cocoa pod, yeah, over the year. But this is more interesting. So what we are trying to do, we have a fertilizer model, yeah. So where what we are doing, basically we have nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus, and we are trying to vary the concentration of the thing. So for example, in this block, which you see the red, I show you this fertilizer application here. For example, we are using 0, so same advice which is given by the uh, 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 same combination, no changes. Here we are just changing, for example, P and K 100% more, and then nitrogen is same. Here we are changing, so we are using different combinations and try to understand that which response, which fertilizer application had the response in terms of the cocoa yield.
I'm curious about to see whether the variability of the outcome here is the same as here, you know?
Yeah.
If you say, okay, because I know that the soil varies a lot, so if you get the prescription of nutrient input here in, let's say, Cameroon, and the Cote d'Ivoire,
Yeah.
do you know that?
Yeah.
To analyze the variability.
Yeah. So that's what they're doing. That's the whole idea. So we have, but the good thing is we know the baseline situation. We have every year we do the soil sample of these core trials, and then we have the fertilizer application, and then we are monitoring the yield. So I don't want, okay, this is not my research. I'm just one of the co-authors. The postdoc is doing, but the finding is very eye-opening, I'll say, because so far these countries, what the advice is saying and what the research is telling, this is not matching. So there are a couple of, like, let's say, so there is some effect, but so that's also something we have to understand. There is, but this is very interesting research. Let's say a product which we are bringing. Of course, still 5 year is very, let's say, short period. If you think about the cocoa from the beginning, yeah, we have the baby cocoa and now it's grown, yeah, to 5-year-old plantation, but it's giving some trend. So I think end of this December her contract is finishing, so hopefully next month she will submit the paper. So okay, I don't need to explain this. I think most of you know this, yeah? No, except, okay. So as I mentioned, this cocoa soil have more than 15,000 data points. 15,000 localized data point, and we have like almost like 40,000 images we had different, you know. So 2019, when I started thinking, because AI machine learning was just coming, I was thinking how we can give the value to the farmer, because what's happening, all the research which I showed you in cocoa, it is still belong to the PhDs and postdoc and then researchers. They are doing nice research, but the farmers are waiting for their feedback. They have nothing. So then I start developing this app and try to make how we can just detect the pod count and then give back, so that just simple, we are telling farmers to do this fertilizer, this pruning. if they can just have tag couple of trees, they can just take the picture, and if they can see the trend is increasing or decreasing. So it was in the beginning, it was not very fancy to really give the crop yield or like let's say precise. It was more about giving the trends about the interventions. But later we see that we can use, for example, for very detailed crop yield prediction and so on. So I had a, of course, this model is again free. If you want, you can use it. It's from this side. We tested with 11 farmers, cocoa farmers in Cameroon, and we had a great feedback, and we saw like quite a bit of opportunities how we can improve it. And then, of course, Deborah, we step in another endeavor that is a disease and pest detection. So there also, I think we have now good image library. We have like more than 10,000 images now. We have trend model, at least it works for a couple of disease. And first thing is the model is very good in recognizing cocoa versus non-cocoa. That is very important. That first model should understand that this is cocoa. And then second is recognizing the disease. So we have now a new model. If you want to play cocoa doctor, you should try yourself. There is also some example images. Yeah. And if you want to further develop, or if you have any idea, you can also contact us. Yeah, you can. So there also, I think we have done. The first model is working. We have now conference next month. We are going to present there. It was kind of quite, and we are further developing this. Okay, then I'll move something. So I'm moving from the global to regional. Now I'm going a bit more to the local studies. Yeah, which I did. This was mainly I did during my PhDs and postdoc equally since 2015. I did a lot of work on community-based forest monitoring. So a bit because we talk a bit when I came about how to map the Kabruka and how to distinguish different species. So there basically I started my PhDs and then I work a lot in Vietnam. This is called Trabui community. They are also like very local indigenous community. They don't speak Vietnamese. Ethiopia, this is the birthplace of coffee Arabica. So there I work a lot with rangers. And Peru, I work a lot in San Martin and Medellín basically, and these all indigenous communities. And there we work on the scale how we can get the meaningful information from community, especially the people who doesn't know how to write, who doesn't know how to speak their national language, still how we can engage them in a meaningful way in a conservation and protection. So there of course, I use lots of technology, mobile phones, but I try to develop the application in such a way that empower them. And I'm quite happy, especially in Peru context, basically, because I started in 2013 with 3 communities. And then the government actually programmed the Bosque, they took very serious. Now almost like 300 communities are part of this whole system. We help them. We actually till I had almost like 7-year different funding project to go there. Last project was a transfer and monitoring, and then we really help them to design the system now. So they have designed their own system to get community to contribute the meaningful data. So how it works in Peru, basically government give certain hectare of forest, like 10 hectares, 15 hectares to the community, and community monitor that forest, and community get $1 per hectare. And maybe I have this here. Okay. And so, and then government observe from satellite. They have a satellite-based system. If there is any changes they see from satellite, they send to the community, in community, ask the community to verify what is happening in this field. Ground truthing, and then they give all the detailed information that would, and this is the system which I developed for them. But also vice versa. Sometimes satellite didn't pick it. Then they found, for example, small localized gold mining. Maradios is very famous for that. So they give the information back, and then government take the action. So this is and this data have lots of picture, everything, and so it has been massive opportunity to the carbon financing actually, or like MRV, monitoring, reporting, and verification, training the satellite images. So this was one of the very close to my heart project which I did, and I'm quite happy. It was part of my postdoc, and then so we have developed many materials here. It's called transmonitoring.org. All the method. I hope this is my last slide. So that this is important because we got last year. Because if you see now, there are many AI models are coming. I can do this with the AI. I can do this, but especially explainability is lacking, and if you can't, because most of these models are blackboard models, they are not telling you how they're learning, they're not telling you how handling with your data, and then the results are always questionable. So what we are trying to do basically is it's funded by European Space Agency again, and here basically we're trying to open up this black box model, basically try to make sure that we understand how the AI is learning in each steps, and how we can know that this information is correct, and how to put the explainability, explanation, like what we human does about, like, and if you have any curiosity, you ask question, how we can ask question, how the map can reply the answer. So that's why we have now testing 3 use cases. Of course, Wageningen we have very good crop yield models. So we are testing one in crop yield models, basically, especially in East Africa. We have urban heat island. So we have one use case in Guatemala, one use case basically in Cacau. And there we are trying to understand what are the urban heat island, how we can derive that, and how we can give the contextual and explainability. And third is from UK, it's biodiversity data set. UK have an excellent butterfly database, observatory from citizen science. So we try to map it and try to again add the explanations about this, how the butterfly is low in this landscape, how it is high. So this is the project which we are running. Still, it will finish end of this year. Very high level. If you are interested, if you want to learn more, so you just contact me, or just again ether.wur.nl will be the website, so you can find the detail there. I thought that was last slide, but this is the last, I think. I promise me, this is the last now. So, and most of the things also, as I mentioned, I think I also triggered by you, Deborah, also, that we scientists, we also have to think more, not only the publication, but how it really make the meaningful impact with all the practitioners in the ecosystem. And that's also what, especially, I was quite active. So in the past, there was a GeoFi, World Bank. So most of the method which I developed about the community-based forest monitoring, that is part of the RED Plus manual. It has been hosted in World Bank or GovC Gold, basically. So you have all the manuals. Also, this world serial about the global crop mapping. I have developed the MOOC. It is all free. If you want to learn more, you can just, there is a video, audio materials, exercise. You can check it, and then if you have any question, you can also ask me. If I can answer, I can answer. Otherwise, I can forward to the expert. And thank you so much. Happy to take some questions.
de perguntas. Pode falar. Se quiser, pode fazer até em português que a gente traduz.
Só faz aqui.
Eu imagino que vocês devem ter conversado muito sobre isso, né, durante essa semana, mas eu queria saber, assim, né, qual a perspectiva dele em relação a isso. A gente fica muito aqui, né, no Brasil, quando a gente fala sobre tecnologia e sensoramento remoto e tal, e a gente tem um problema de resolução de satélite, né? Então, eu queria saber o que ele pensa em relação a essas tecnologias sobre o cacau, né? Se com as tecnologias que a gente tem hoje, todas, né, no melhor cenário, com as melhores resoluções, a gente conseguiria chegar num bom mapeamento de cacau, né, sombreado, com uma boa acurácia, ou se é realmente um cultivo que a gente precisa de tudo que a gente já fala aqui, né, de todo esse várias organizações envolvidas, validação em campo, ou se só a tecnologia a gente já consegue chegar nesse lugar.
I will translate your question. This is a very interesting question that we were discussing. Leticia, she's a master student here from our program, and she's involved in the cocoa mapping. You know, one of the things that she is involved, and she was asking you that. Okay, we have a bunch of technology, the sensors and so on, satellites and so on. So we still lacking the way, a meaningful way to map the cocoa here. So what do you think about the future of how can we map the cocoa? So does it lack more technology, or we still can rely on the current technology, or maybe we are waiting for some additional technology to do this job, you know? I'm not sure if you, it's,
Okay, I have it. Okay. Thank you. I think very a relevant question, you know, and it is not so easy to map cocoa. First thing, you have, if you're working in the cocoa world, then you know, because cocoa, of course, there is full sun, there is different shaded cocoa, full sun cocoa, there is different agroforestry cocoa. So there is, so in terms of, like I say, there is one paper which is in a review in Nature, one of my postdoc is involved. So we are trying to make a global map using scientific data and some AI models. Basically, it is under review. Hopefully it will publish, we'll publish the data and Nature. But I don't know that that will be very accurate. Maybe like 60 to 70, 80, 90% accuracy. But the thing is that it is like it will evolve over the time. Of course, like if you have higher resolution, more, if you see more detail, you can distinguish between the forest, kabruka, and then landscape. Then you can do better. But again, if that kind of sensor will be not free, yeah. So you have, if you want to look at it, the let's say the free sensor that has 10 meter, 20 meter resolution. But I'm quite hopeful that coming years, basically, we'll have more detailed map about the cocoa.
I have a question, but first, thank you very much for being here and share with us your knowledge. I want to know a little more about something that you talk about water management. If you, maybe you want, you have maybe a public data collection for interest for marine ecosystem conservation. A public data collection for interest for marine ecosystem conservation.
Você tem mais projetos ou sobre conservação marinha? É isso?
Ou na parte de dados.
Ah, ok. asking about the if you have access or if you have your own databases of marine conservation, because she works with whales.
Okay.
So she's interested in.
And you talk about water management.
Yeah. Yeah. So personally, I don't work, but I have team other people they're working for water management. So I can get in touch with you in that team. But personally, I just use the services. You know, like there is a aqueduct, there is a different services in European Commission that give you the service water use, and we use that data, for example, coffee or cocoa sector, to see how much water.
Marine biology.
Yeah.
Data set for marine biology.
So we have a marine research. So, but I had one project there. We had an underwater drone to monitor the corals in the North Sea, and then we developed some AI and machine learning method to classify the corals and how the underwater infrastructure for oil and gas pipeline are are helping.
Brazil, because
Yeah.
the corals here are much better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but there is a, but if you are interested, then I can put you in touch with that group, and they might have more research or answer for you.
I have interested.
Yeah. Okay, then send me email. I think I have email here. This is my email, and then I'll put you in touch with one of our marine research.
I have one question.
Please.
You mentioned at the end that you have a project on to monitor biodiversity using citizen science.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the bias from you don't have people everywhere and you don't have people engaging in your project everywhere?
Yeah, that's now I have to show you my favorite project. I skipped that. So just 1 minute. I put it in my previous version, but I thought it will be too much. So, or I can also show you. Let's see. So this is the project which I work with. So, so here, so here the big issues, of course, the one is the terrain, really challenging terrain. Yeah. So like, I'm talking, this area is above 4,000 meter high from sea level. Yeah? And then, so that is one challenge. Another challenge is the people living here, they have only three kind of food, either meat or potato, yeah, meat, potato, or some herbs which is there, yeah. So and here what is happening? So here we have built up the system as you mentioned. Let me see. This is the app which we are using. This is, let's see, there is no, okay, there is no data point, I'm sorry. But what we're trying to do here, because citizen science data will be biased. There is no way. Because you cannot send the citizen, this is the terrain, you cannot, so these are the areas basically where the houses are, most of the data will be in that part. Yeah. So what we are trying to do basically, we use like experts to correct the bias. So we make the stratification. So for example, this area, we know this area there will be no data. We put a camera trap to get the data. If there is an expert like going there, then we are stratified where there is no data. So in this way, we first feel about like no data part, yeah, and then regarding the bias basically. So first, the triangulation is like you ask the location. So if people, this is the system basically, maybe if I can have, let's see if I have something different, or
because there's no leopard project. It's a blend of scientific assessment and very rigorous one by sênior and so on, plus the citizen science.
yeah. So what we are trying to do, this is the story map. I like to show you something. So let's see, where is my, I didn't see, okay, this is the thing which I show you. So this foot is all the observation which citizen has done. This is the observation. It shows that they have shown some kind of evidence for the snow leopards. And these are the red crosses are the depredation, where a snow leopard has killed the cattle. And then basically what we try to do, basically, we use both information. First thing is like the observation is very detailed. You have the location. If they are telling that I saw the snow leopard pug mark, so then I'm asking to take the picture of that pug mark. So you see that this is true. So and then what we're trying to do, we have like 4 citizen scientists we call like experts. They go and independently verify some of the data set. Yeah? And this whole information we use also to better give the compensation. Compensation is really based on evidence, and then we make and we build. So for example, this area is whole crowded, we call geofencing. If there is more observation and more corals at that area, more cattle, more depredation, that means there is conflict more. So then we build that kind of corals, like, where is the image? Let me show you. So yeah. So generally, this is the place. This is how they put their cattle. But of course, when there is, uh, yeah. So we made this like this. But this is very expensive because you have to carry everything like 5 days from the car location to this location. So then we really carry. So we build this one coral proof. But then, of course, citizen science data, there will be always some bias, yeah. But we try to use other sources, for example, like, cattle statistics. We try to make the how much depredation has been claimed, also like other data set to collect it. Yeah.
You can create this data in order to prioritize some areas
Yeah.
in which you invest in some measures to mitigate the degradation.
Exactly. Yeah. So we don't have money to do all. So we build like 6 or 7, prioritize it, and then every year. So for example, now actually because of this event, the one disaster happened last week. So I have a consultant. He work. So what they do now, like 2 times in the season, he goes with the team, and then he randomly selects some points which has been reported by citizens, and we verify it again. And in this way, we try to minimize the bias. Yeah? But there is a, yeah, it's actually, so this area, so this so this is the trigger me to run this project. So the one night he was in this coral, and they kill around 50, 60 goats. And because he got like nervous when they're inside. And so, and this is really, it is near Tibet. It's
nearby Tibet.
Yeah, so actually this side, this is really this side is Tibet basically, and this is considered as like really breeding place of a snow leopard, because you need a special permission to go there. So not all the normal tourists basically they go from this side, not from this side. So that's why this is quite interesting place. So we have now 6-7 cameras to really observe it. We have quite a good sign. There is one PhD now published one paper.
But I think one interesting thing that you mentioned in one of our conversations is that your research decreased, I mean, mitigated somehow the conflict.
Yeah. So I have now like for last 5-6. That's the last 5 years we are working. After establishing this, there was no mass killing. There is individual killing, but there is no mass killing. And then we made basically, I don't know about Brazil, but Nepal, we have very complicated bureaucracy. Yeah. So, so when this guy, so one of the thing what happened there when we started, these poor farmers, like 5 days to going, 5 days to come, just to make a complaint. The how like there is a if I zoom in a bit, so so it is okay. So somewhere here basically they had to come and report that my goat has been killed or eaten by a snow leopard, and they need like 10 type of document. They want the photograph, they want to have the proof from the village committee. So all the document they needed to get this thing. So the harmony was very less. So what I did when we started the project, I have made the committee. I called Human Snow Leopard Conservation Committee. So these two villages, there is a committee of 5-6 people basically, and this committee have basically authority. I went to the police, I went to the village committee, I went and we managed to get the mandate that if these guys are telling that this is conflict, then it is conflict. And then what we do basically, when the farmers are complaining basically, then we put some money to this committee. So if the farmer A is telling that my goat got killed, they get, for example, 100 Brazilian currency, Nepalese currency immediately, like same day. And then the committee gave it. And then because now we have this digital tool, so we have location, photographs, every evidence. These guys review it, and then they apply for they approve for the bigger compensation. So
Decrease the amount of time between the complaint
yeah.
itself and the restitution.
Yeah, and then farmers, because the farmers get something, and they also get acknowledged that now their complaint is registered, because government bureaucracies takes time to get the money back.
So this was a very powerful tool to decrease the mass killing.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking place.
Yeah. And then because people know that now I can complain, I get the compensation, and that's why we have, if you want, I can show you how it looks like. It's a bit real time. It's always danger, as our wise man told us that I'll just dare to show you if it works. So look, so these are the observation which you can see. 45 hours ago there was somebody have uploaded the observation data. 3 days ago somebody has registered. So we also register the livestock. So each farmers, how many cattle they have. If there is new cattle are coming, they can register, so that we know if there is mass killing, that these corals have like this amount of cattle. And then this is the depredation. So we have 70 cases so far. The farmers have registered, and then they have got some kind of compensation. And if you, yeah, so the government has some fund, but within the project we give little bit, and then we have negotiated that this committee which I mentioned, they have a bank account, so the compensation comes to the bank account and then they distribute. So it's like really community building perspective. So let me show you how it looks like. For example, this is the leopard survey. If you, so for example, Wednesday there was somebody has uploaded something. So you can see like the guy who has reported what kind of profession he has, which village ward, like which village they are, where are the location. So this is the so they're taking that there is some scrap was there, yeah. So and so this is how it has been done. I want to show you something about depredation that is more interesting. Sometimes it is bloody, but hopefully. Let's see. So this one it has been. Internet is a bit slow, I have a feeling, because let's see other maybe. But this is how they feel it. So there is like this is and they, how it works there. You have different so landscape, and so there is different grassland, and they put the cattle in one grassland. So these are like basically different grassland, and how they move when the snow cover is less, they go from to another. But I don't see it in this picture. Let's say this one is also there is.
So this is the kind of
Yeah.
species that of livestock.
Yeah, exactly. And but they are telling that it has been. So I don't think this guy will get the compensation. Let's look this one. Kind of. Yeah. So for example, this one has been killed. For example, this is the sheep, and so of course, and then it goes to the committee. They decided, and they decide whether to proceed for or not. Maybe. No, it is not here. Yeah, I think anything else? Sorry, I distracted you. This is my trick. If I don't know the answer, then I try to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're very excited. Marvelous. You have so many